welcome into Real Deal Sports Talk with KP. It's August 18th, 2019. Football's back. We got preseason action going. It's exciting. Baseball's still going, of course, for all of you out there who love baseball fans. Most of the division races to me as I checked in, and honestly, this has been one of the worst years of me following baseball in my 38 years on this planet. I looked in, and a lot of these division races, they're getting ready to be over. I mean, the Dodgers got a 20-game lead over just about everybody in their division. It's like 19 and a half is second in place. That's done. Yankees, they're like 10 games up in their division. I mean, these division races are going away. It looks like we're going to have a very exciting October. It seems like maybe I should have been paying closer attention throughout the summer. But you know what? Football's back, so I'm excited. I've been waking up early. I've been smelling it in the air. It makes me reminisce about pads hitting together, doing two-a-days, going through the grind, the blood, the sweat, the injuries, the pranks, all the stuff that goes into building a team at this time of year. It brings it all back. I have the memories. I have the dreams. It's just a great time of year. Summer's wrapping up. Fall's coming around. We're going to start getting longer nights, shorter days, all that kind of stuff. Snow's going to come back. Real games are going to come back. We're about a week and a half, 2 weeks out from college football starting, live action games. So it's all getting to where I just love this time of year again. And I can't say that, there's anything out there that's going to bring me down about that. Now, there's some stuff out there we'll talk about this week. One of the topics we're going to talk about this week was this stuff with Jay-Z and some of the kickback he's been getting and different ways you can look at it. We'll talk about that. What I want to see out of week 3 in the preseason. We'll look at the schedule. I'll talk about some of the games and what I see or what I'm looking for out of these games. As that third preseason game is generally the tune-up game, right? That's the game where your starters are going to come out if they're getting any play, if they're getting some action, which we've seen now is kind of becoming a trend. More and more these starters not seeing the field. But generally this third preseason game, that's the tune-up. You have them come out, you have them play the second half, you have them come out of the tunnel in the second half, maybe get a series in the second half, just so they get used to what that feels like again. Because it's been so long since they've gone through that whole process, since they've gotten to the high of their adrenaline rush, put it out there on the field in the first half, had to come in at halftime, sit for 15, 25 minutes, right? Then get back up, get your energy back going, get your focus back going after going through the adjustments real quick with your position coach, with your coordinator. And you want to see some of that stuff in the third preseason game. Now, there's this idea out there, you hold your starters out because these games don't mean anything, and they could get hurt unnecessarily. You can get hurt at practice, you can get hurt at home, you can get hurt sneezing, as we saw with Sammy Sosa years ago, where he sneezed and missed a few weeks because he hurt his back and his ribs sneezing. So the idea that you're somehow going to postpone any kind of an injury that may or may not happen by treating these athletes in a physical sport delicately is ridiculous. We need to stop talking as if that's some kind of a solution because we're pumping so much money into the sport now. And that's really what it's about. It's not about the athlete's health. Let's be real about that. This is Real Deal Sports Talk. This is not about the athlete's health. This is about the owner's investment. And I'm not going to start calling them governors, NBA. They own the team. They own the ball club. They may not own the players, they may not own the people, but they are owners. They are not governors. Half of them don't do anything in the day-to-day operations of the team, which governors have their hands in every day. Come up with a new term if you don't want to call them owners. Don't refer to them at all in your sport. Leave them out of the conversation. There's an idea. Owners, you want a different perception of yourself? Stop acting like you do own these people. All you own is the club that they play for. You are a boss. You are the CEO. That may be the title. You need to take it away from some business person down at the office and just call the owners what they are, the CEOs. They're not anything else. They don't own the people, they own the clubs. They are the final decision on any matter they decide to poke their nose in on. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, that's I want to see that kind of preparedness. We're going to talk about this Jay-Z situation and kind of where aspects of that. We're going to talk about the greatness that is Simone Biles. We're going to talk about some of this UFC, last night, UFC 241. We'll talk about some of that. We'll talk about the NFL Players Association putting out into the public that they have prepared their players. They're sending them this packet of information, of ideas, of how you can get yourself ready for the upcoming strike, for the upcoming labor negotiation. If indeed they do not have an agreement in place come that time. And then I also want to give a couple stories of why I love sports. Again, this is an idea that a buddy of mine, Mike Fruitman, uses on his social media feed. He owns a great little card shop, memorabilia shop here in the Denver, Colorado area, Mike Stadium Sport Cards. And he does this thing where every now and then there's a story that comes along that he really likes. And he says it, titles it Why I Love Sports, says a little something, and then gives the story. I love the idea. There's many reasons why I love sports. There's constantly reminders of why I love sports. So I'm taking that idea and I'm turning it into a segment on the show that we'll do at least once a week now that we're back to the 2 shows a week starting on Wednesday this week. So look for that, as we will be back to 2 shows a week. Also, there are 2 spots left in KP's annual showdown for the Real Deal Sports Talk with KP Fantasy Football League on NFL.com. League ID, if you're interested, 616-4249. League password, 1Pride. So let's get into it. Week 3, kind of what I'm looking at, what I want to see, what I'm looking for in these Week 3 games. I've watched probably 10, 11, parts of 11 or 12, upwards of 12 preseason games so far this year. I'm not seeing really a lot of what I want to see so far out of these teams. They're playing it a little different. They're really going more into that situational type football. Trying this out. Let's throw this flag here. Let's challenge that here. And I get it. It's a little bit more live action. You've got the refs out there. You're trying to figure stuff out. So when you get into the regular season, if that situation presents itself, you have a better knowledge base to then draw from and decide, okay, do I want to make this call here? Is it worth it here? What happened then? Let's apply that forward now into this situation. I get that. Now, in this tune-up game, in this traditional tune-up game, for instance, I'm a Lions fan. The Lions will play, I'm not playing anybody. The Lions will play Buffalo in their 3rd preseason game. Buffalo will be coming into this game 2-0. The Lions will be coming into this game 0-2. Preseason records oftentimes don't mean much. They can be predictors. You can see things on the field in preseason that will let you know if a team's ready to be successful during the regular season or if they're going to have some troubles. What I want to see from the Lions, I want to see Matthew Stafford get out there and have a couple series. He has not played to this point in the regular season. I'd like to see the starters all together for a series or 2 before week 1 against Arizona. They have Kyler Murray there in Arizona. He's doing very well in the preseason. He's getting some nice little experience. He's showing off his athleticism. The Lions lost to a rookie quarterback last week in week 1 to Sam Darnold and the Jets. Right now, with the way they're playing, with the hype that's coming out of Arizona, it very well could happen to them again. And I definitely, as a fan, do not want to see that. I want to see them go out there, control the rookie, control the Cardinals, and take over week 1. But for me to believe something like that is going to happen, for me to think along those lines, this week against Buffalo, I want to see those starters go out there, get some series, get some reps together. I want to see, as a fan, the players and how they're gelling together. What's Marvin Jones look like coming back from that injury last year? Has Kenny Galladay taken any kind of a step forward and become more dominant, more of a physical presence? C.J. Anderson behind the number 1 line, Kerryon Johnson getting more than 2 or 3 carries. I want to see T.J. Hawkinson connect with Matthew Stafford on something across the middle or maybe a deep out. I want to see some pass rush out of the defense from Detroit because they're not getting any right now in preseason, and I don't know if that's because they're just being vanilla and they're holding back, but I need to see something like that. From Buffalo, I want to continue to see their offense progress on the way it's going. I want to see more of the running game. I want to see Josh Allen in there and getting more reps, maybe play the entire first half. This is very much a try-hard team. This is an effort team. And so far, what I've seen in the preseason, I kind of like it. The Giants, I want to see Daniel Jones. Are you going to carry over your performance from the first 2 games into this third game? Daniel Jones probably gets to play at least the whole half, maybe 3/4 in this game against the Bengals. From the Bengals, we need to start seeing something from that club. They've got the young new coach. They've got some talent here and there at places. Mixon had the nice stiff arm the other day. That's like their highlight right now of the preseason. But I need to see some heart out of Cincinnati in this one. Other games I'm looking at, Ravens and Eagles. I want to see more out of Carson Wentz. I want to see a deep connection with Deshaun Jackson. I want to see this defense go after a Lamar Jackson and see how they're going to handle it. I want to see Lamar Jackson get some more opportunities to throw from the pocket and go through progressions. It seems like he's gotten better. It seems like he's focused on accuracy. But now let's give him some plays where he's going to have to make 2 or 3 reads against the defense that's coming after him quick. Let's see if he takes Aaron Rodgers' advice and slides a little bit. The Browns, I want to continue to see from the Browns their offense start well and put points on the board as they drive down. I want to continue to see Swag Pound build confidence and start playing like they can't be beat. Not only will that be good for them, but it brings life into the game. It's going to make every other competitor that they go against week in and week out bring their top effort, because they're going to want to shut down this team that's walking around and strutting and putting up points and stopping people on defense. Now, on defense, I need to see Cleveland's defense do it. They've got names. They've got young kids. They've got athletes. But they're young on that side of the ball. They're going to have to put it together. They're going to have to be able to do more than make a play here and a play there. Continue to do that, but on those other plays in between there, you got to hold tight. Need to see that. Cardinals, I want to see Kyler Murray come out against this Minnesota defense, this very good Minnesota defense that has made trouble for a lot of quarterbacks, and I want to see him continue to develop. Continue to use that mobility, continue to use that quick release, continue to use that quick decision making to find the open guy and or decide to pull it down and go. And when you pull it down and go, make sure you're protecting yourself. Make sure your head's on a swivel. I want to see David Johnson get 10 to 15 carries. Still coming off that injury from 2 years ago. Not a great season last year. Still trying to figure out his role in this Cliff Kingsbury system. I want to see more from David Johnson. I want to see more from the wide receiver core and a Christian Kirk, and really get him going as well, because I think he's going to be a vital part of their offense. Dak, you're up for a big deal. You want $40 million reportedly. Okay, here's your chance. NFL Network. Next Saturday night, August 24th, you're taking on the Texans, in-state rivalry. Go out there, play 2 quarters, put up 14, 17 points, have a completion percentage between 65 and 70, put up 180, maybe a touchdown or 2 in there. Start making everybody a believer that you are the top-tier quarterback and deserve top-tier money and should reset the market. Because, look, I get it. You're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. You've been very successful to this point in your young career. You had a 13-3 season with the Cowboys. You've had bad receivers, and now you got Amari Cooper, and you played really well and looked like you were going to take that next step now that you had some receiving talent around you. I get all that. I get you're on a quote-unquote America's team. But guess what? Quarterback wins and all that stuff in the ultimate team game mean absolutely nothing. The fact of the matter is you don't stack up right now in that top tier with a Drew Brees, with a Tom Brady, with an Aaron Rodgers. So for you to reset the market, that is not the trend the NFL needs to be a part of. It's not a part of every young guy who comes around gets to reset the market. No, it's based on your merit, based on what you're going to do moving forward. And there's nothing that shows right now that moving forward you are going to be that guy, thus allowing you to reset the market and eclipse the person prior to you by $5 million or so per year. Right now, I see your value in that $20 to $25 million range, which coming off of a rookie deal, coming behind one of the better offensive lines in the league with arguably the best running back in the league, if he comes back this year, if he doesn't and there is an extended holdout, you will be showing your worth at that point. Your number's going to drop if you don't show your worth at that point. But with all of those factors, you can't say, I'm the guy that made it all run. I'm the piece. Because so far that has not been the case. Yes, you've had some good numbers. Yes, you've had some completion percentages in the 70s. Yes, you've had games where you've thrown for 300, almost 400 yards. But so have a lot of other guys that aren't that top-tier quarterback. And it's nothing against you personally. I do think you're a good NFL player. I think you're one of the top 32 guys out of all the quarterbacks for sure in the NFL. My issue is with the idea that every young guy who comes up with a contract, it's his turn, gets to go and reset that market. And he gets to dictate that much of a leap in revenue. Eventually, that idea, that way of doing business is going to do nothing but cripple your team. It's going to put the team in a position where owners can't afford to put a full team on the field anymore, and it really will become a major impact that these guys have big contracts like that. Because you're going to have a top player making $40 million and a bunch of scrubs around him because you won't be able to field more talent, not under the current revenue sharing. So Dak, it's on you. You got Houston, in-state rival. We might not see Jadeveon Clowney. We haven't really seen him much under the speculation he's getting traded. But we should see J.J. Watt. Wynton Mercilus has been a beast this preseason. So go out there and put up some big numbers. Continue to put up big numbers. Earn it. Get yourself to about that $30 to $35 million range, which would be still above, in my opinion, what you're worth. But a lot of players in the NFL have contracts that are above what they're worth, face it. Chicago, look, you won the division last year. You've got the Colts this week. Young team, talented team, hungry team, want to get it done team. Andrew Luck sitting out right now with the ankle injury. You need to come out and dominate this Colts team. You need to show everybody that you're still the Bears, and you're going to come out this year and be every bit as tough to play against as you were last year. You've got some new weapons. You've got new people running the defense. Khalil Mack needs to come out and ball in this game. Just remind everybody real quick, hey, I still play in Chicago. You need Danny Trevathan to take over. You need Jackson to take over on the back end. That defense needs to just shut them down. That's the kind of stuff out of those games that I'm looking for this week in the preseason week 3, in the tune-up game. In a game where you're going to put in some time, game planning for the other team. You're still not going to show everything. It's still going to be a little vanilla. It's still going to be situational football. In this situation, could we run the ball if we needed to? In this situation, would I go for it on 4th down? In this situation, time's running out. We can't change guys out. We're going to run the play. Can these guys go ahead and just get it done? We got a guy trying to get some stuff done. And the moves that he made recently caused an uproar this week. The announcement that Jay-Z made with Roger Goodell as they sat down on camera and made their announcement that Jay-Z will be partnering, Rock Nation will be partnering with the NFL in an effort to increase entertainment at halftime shows, fan involvement, fan interest, develop social justice outreach and reform and platforms for players to speak on. I got some negative feedback. And where I get it, I think the people that are stuck in the negative feedback form have been so affected by the system that allows me, my white privilege, to even probably think what I'm thinking about this and express what I'm going to express. Because I've been given that privilege because of the color of my skin. Something so trivial that I had no control over. But the system was set up to give me that. So I was hearing the negativity. I was hearing the get back. I was reading the reports. I was reading the intelligence and the way it was portrayed by people like Jemele Hill and others out there that felt scorned, felt like he went the wrong way, that this shouldn't have happened. Expressing both sides. How it feels to the community and the people and the movement, and how it's a money grab. And he didn't get Kaepernick's approval. So I'm thinking about this. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? And I hear the hatred, and I hear the anger, and I hear the neo-colonialism, and I hear how the NFL has blackballed Kaepernick, which they did. They settled with Kaepernick also. They had been blackballing Eric Reed, who's, big support of Kaepernick as far as speaking out about what they don't like or what he doesn't like. He's now on an NFL team, so he can't really say he was blackballed anymore because he's now back. But I don't hear what's next. We brought light to the situation, and Jay-Z kind of said this too. We know what the issue is. We know it's police brutality. We know it's a social justice system that is broken and needs serious reform and correction. For people in color, more than any. And since the protests, since the president came into office, we see more and more of this. And the protest brought light to it. The protest, again, I agree with Jay-Z when he said the protest was not about getting Kaepernick his job back. And I've got my I'm with Kaepernick shirt. I myself kneeled for national anthems. I've posted the videos. I've tried and kept to keep myself informed. I've talked to others. And it angers me. And I get frustrated. And I'm not able to be as intelligent and as thoughtful as other people are. And I wish I was better at speaking on this topic. But we're at the point to where, okay, we've protested. We've brought light to it. What's next? What are we going to do? What steps are we going to do to start making change, to start affecting difference? And just protesting in itself, you lose the cause. You lose the momentum. You lose the masses. You have to then continue to do it somehow. And yes, there's no way around it. Roc Nation Jay-Z is going to make a lot of money off of this deal. And it's been reported that it's in the works that sometime, maybe potentially very soon, he could become part owner of an NFL club. And for that to be somehow looked at negatively, that would be huge. African-American man owns part ownership of NFL club. You think Jay-Z's going to stop there? You think with his influence and where he's come from and the way he built up Roc Nation and became the president of Def Jam and married Beyonce and has become this worldwide conglomerate, that he's going to stop at part ownership, that he's going to forget the people and he's going to stop trying to help with all of the other efforts that he has going on? Let's wait and see where he takes this before we fully condemn him for joining with the man. Yes, I get it from the surface, from the immediate emotional reaction to it. It's like one of our own jumps sides. He was with Cap. He was kneeling. He protested. He didn't go to the Super Bowl. He talked other, artists out of going and performing. He was part of that. Now he's jumping. He's switching. No, he's taking the next step with that league, with that part of that situation, which is a very small part of the problem. He has just taken the next step. And for him, yes, it involves business. He is in the business world. He's a businessman. But with his influence, with his power, if he creates these platforms, if he brings in more young talent, as that young talent comes through the ranks, what's going to happen? The system's going to change because now that young talent has the power. Change doesn't happen overnight because we don't like stuff and we get mad about it. This instant gratification that we want to go through in society right now, and the 10-minute news cycle that we're on. And, oh, it matters because I saw the video. I've got a problem with it because it's on video. Needs to go away. That's real talk. We need to get off of this surface level bullshit and get deeper on these things. So I say let's give Jay-Z some time. Let's see if he affects some change within the system that is that good old boy NFL. Let's see if we start seeing little changes that turn into big changes. That snowball starts off small, but as it rolls down the hill, it gets bigger, it grows in size, it grows in strength. He's taking a step. We all need to take a step. We all need to take another step. It can and has to start somewhere. For us, for Kaepernick, for Eric Reed, for Jay-Z, for all of us. We need to continue the momentum. We need to continue the effort. We need to continue moving forward and not just get stuck on the fact that this police brutality, the way young black men and women, young Latinos, young Native Americans, the LGBT community are being treated by this terrorist organization, the white supremacists in this country. The systemic suppression throughout our criminal justice system, throughout our products, our commercials, our TV, always making the minority, the person of colored skin, the bad guy. It needs to go away. There's a better way to be. We can all be better. There's nothing wrong with that. Why that is such a fearing change, I don't get. And I hope with Cap's movement, with him bringing that to light, with him putting his job on the line, which I still think he can play in the NFL. He would definitely help Detroit out right now, whose backup quarterback situation is a joke. In fact, Detroit's sitting in a spot right now where if their starters don't make it through the season, they're not going to have a good season. They don't have enough. They've got some guys that can play, but they don't have enough. And you can't tell me that Kaepernick's not better than Josh Johnson or Daniel Fales. But he chose to take that on himself. He knew what might come of putting himself out there on the line. And he's not hurting for money because of it. He gets paid very nicely for making his appearances, for his Nike contract. So he's not hurting. He's still making a living. He's just not getting to play in a league that's pissed off at him, that thought he was going to hurt their business, that was too scared and too weak and didn't have big enough balls to go out there and affect change when he did. Now, Jay-Z, he's doing it from the inside and he's going to make a little money while he does it. Don't hate him. Hate the fact that you're not in a position to do it. And we all need to step up and be better. We don't have to like each other. We don't have to love each other, but we do need to walk around with some respect. I can take you being different. I can't take you oppressing, hurting, or doing wrong to somebody else. And if your God says you could do that, and you should do that, maybe you need to recheck your God. So again, let's give Jay-Z some time. Let's see where he takes this and what decisions he decides to make now that he's in this partnership. Now that he has taken the step to join forces and possibly become part owner and become part of the group that put Kaepernick out of employment in the NFL. Let's see what he does before we condemn him. Let's get off the 10-minute news cycle and the instant gratification and the instant reaction that we like to have. Let's see the path of affecting change, and let's all do something about it. We do have athletes out there making huge change. Not necessarily in that realm, not necessarily in the political, the social world, more in the athletic realm, changing futures, changing records, becoming icons, becoming quite possibly the best athlete any sport of all time. I'm talking about Simone Biles. What this young lady has done, what this young lady is doing, what this young lady is moving forward to do more than likely at the next Olympic Games is unbelievable. She's won 6 straight all-around national titles. Never been done before. Record. On her floor routine, she does a triple-double on the floor. On her beam dismount, double-double. Double flip, double twist, double rotate, double-double. Never been done before. These are moves that are going to be named after her. She already has another dismount that is named after her. She's doing things we have never seen any other human do. And she's getting better as she goes along. Who knows what she's going to pull out next year at the Olympics? Currently, I can't think of a better athlete in the world. People would jump to NBA players. Oh, they're so athletic in what they do. Look at Giannis. Look at guys like Kobe in his prime, LeBron in his prime. Yes, amazing athletes. Now take what they're doing and put it on, instead of one axis, 2 axes. And then take that and put that third axis of rotation in there and do all the flips and the jumps and the explosion and the power and put it all together in a 5-foot package. Have it flip, rotate, lose, idea of where the ground is, come down and stick it. I get it that they're different sports, it's different kinds of athleticism, but what she is doing athletically, what she's doing from an exercise science perspective, her biomechanics, it's astonishing. It's amazing. It's unbelievable, and it's great to watch. If you haven't seen it, I would say please go back and watch her performances at last week's national championships. I mean, she may not be human. Her adoptive parents might have kept part of her story from her. And I know I'm being ridiculous when I say that, and I'm saying it in jest, of course. But it's that unbelievable, the moves and the precision and the ability and the marksmanship even that it takes for her to do what she's doing. Because if your foot's off a fraction of an inch, if your balance is off a fraction of an inch, if your rotation is off a fraction of an inch, none of what she is doing is possible. And she isn't so much in control and is so precise and is so dedicated and practiced in her craft. It's poetry in motion. That should have been what I love about sports. The top people being at their best, performing at the highest, and making the most difficult thing seem easy, seem mundane. Simone Biles is a special one, and I hope everybody appreciates her athleticism, her person, and what she's bringing to the table right now, because she's not going to be around at that level much longer. And when she is, we generally don't hear about gymnasts much after they go away. So appreciate this time that we have with this amazing athlete right now, because she's going to do stuff. She's doing big stuff now in the athletic space. She's going to go on to do big stuff outside of that space with the rest of her life. She's still a young lady, like 19, maybe 20 years old at this point. Super impressed with her. I'm also super impressed with Nate Diaz. I've got to say it. Nate Diaz, he's always been one of my favorite fighters. He's one of my favorite fighters, MMA or boxing of all time. I grew up loving Mike Tyson until he got in the trouble he got into with the women and started biting ears off and lost respect. Loved him as a fighter, though, before he got broke, before the jail, before all that. Loved him as a fighter. Roy Jones Jr., Nate Diaz is in there, Randy Couture, Royce Gracie, Ken Shamrock. Some of these older guys, guys that in the MMA that fought when there necessarily weren't weight classes at the beginning, and you fought whoever was next in the tournament. Some of those earlier guys, some of the long-term champions, Chuck Liddell. I liked Tito Ortiz coming up. Some of the newer guys, I really liked Forrest Griffin. He was a tough fighter more than he was a good fighter. Guys like that. Nate Diaz is right up there. Called himself a West Coast gangster last night after he beat Pettis unanimously. Challenged Jorge Masvidal right after that, paying him respect. Said he was a gangster. There are only two gangsters in the sport that did it the right way. I don't know about that. I'm not going to speak on that. But I like that attitude. I like that grit. And I've always liked how he just did his thing and was not a system guy. He was not going to be the corporate guy. He was not going to be the guy you could just put out there and, use him like a puppet. He's done it his way. He's proven to be good. He's got the title now. He's going to defend it. He's going to be a fighting champion. I love seeing that last night. I thought he was going to beat Pettis before the fight was over, but it went to decision, and he got it unanimously. It wasn't even close. So Dana White, you like to work with guys like Conor McGregor that run their mouth and punch old people in the face for not taking a shot of whiskey with them and attack buses and do all that kind of stuff. Nate Diaz has stepped in the ring with that guy. Nate Diaz, in my opinion, won both of those fights. Now, it didn't go that way, but in my opinion, he won both of those fights. Are you now going to back him the way you continue to back the other guy? Because you got a guy here, he's a fighter. He's going to continue to fight. He's not going to go off and he's not going to want to make money and get, all these other avenues outside of what he's doing. He's a fighter. I think it's about time Nate Diaz gets his run, and now as the title, everybody's going to have to step to him. Daniel Cormier goes in last night. He loses to Steve Miocic. I can't say his name. But DC, he looked like a coach. He's coaching right now. He's doing the commentator thing right now. He looked heavy. He looked slow. He looked out of shape. That could be, let's go to the rubber match. There very well could be a third fight where DC comes out and, gets himself in better shape. I'm thinking, right now, I just feel bad for the guy. He'll always be now known as the guy who couldn't beat Jones, who broke down and cried. And really, I'm just hoping coaching and commentating is going to be good enough for him moving forward. And he doesn't become one of these fighters who keeps trying to fight here and there to regain this and that. Go part your knowledge on the kids. Go part your knowledge on sportsmanship, on wrestling, and bring up that next generation and make that who you are moving forward. Because I don't see a future fight for him going any different, really. Like, he could get in all better shape. Great. I still think if he goes back for a third fight against either Miocic or Jones, he loses both of those. Those guys are focused on fighting. You've got something else. You've got other avenues you're doing now. And when fighters, to me, start having other avenues, that's when you start seeing them fall off, no matter how great or how good or, dedicated or focused they once were. So he had a short reign. He held 2 belts. He's won some fights. He's lost some fights. He's looked good. He's looked bad. It's time for him to more than likely move on. We're hoping that the NFL players don't move on to a strike coming up in the next collective bargaining agreement before the 2021 season, after next season, after the 2020 season. But both sides have been making comments publicly. The league saying they want a new CBA before this season started, which was laughable. The Players Association warning players now to prepare for a potential lockout following the 2020 season, even sending them advice on ideas like consider selling a car you haven't driven in the past 6 months, try cooking at home instead of eating out, adopt a weekly no spending day, consider renting instead of buying a home, rent out unoccupied homes or bedrooms. And this isn't and I heard kickback this week on this too. Like, they can't tell these players how to live. They can't tell. It's not about us telling you what to do or how to live. It's here, we're trying to give you advice so you can live. Because if you spend like you've got constant money coming in and we go into this lockout in a mere 18, 24 months, and you don't have anything coming in and you haven't made any preparations and you're signed on this person's loan and that person's car and you've got this obligation and that obligation, you're going to find yourself in a real tough spot. So maybe save half of a paycheck. Avoid getting on those loans. Make your home repairs that you need now. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out moving forward, for sure. All right, why I love sports. This is the second time we've done it, so it's why I love sports 2. I'm going to have 2 and 3 on the show today. It was a Blue Jays game the other day. There was a little girl at this Blue Jays game. They're on the road. I didn't see who they were playing against. I know they were not in Toronto because it was an outdoor stadium. But this little girl's there with her dad, and the sign says, "Te amo, Vladdy." I love you, Vladdy. Teammate notices the sign, brings his attention to it, sends him over there. He interacts with the girl. He picks her up. He gives her a hug, takes a picture with her. And why does that say why I love sports? Because that's sports. That's the love. That's the community. That's the nature of what sports should be about. Yes, competition is a huge part of it in action. Outside of that, it's about community. It's about bringing people together. It's about rooting together, about losing together, and about having those experiences. And for the little kids to see somebody they consider a hero and they want to say, "I love you." And they're holding that sign and they're celebrating you, for him to go over and give her that moment. That's awesome. And I celebrate that. And why I love sports 3, same kind of thing. Soccer player Mo Salah was on a jog or something, and these kids were trying to chase down his bus or him to wave and maybe get an autograph or say hi or something. And the kid runs smack into a light pole, busts his nose up. He's bleeding from the face. And Mo Salah, he comes back, he checks on the kid, takes a picture with him, makes the kid's day. So well worth it for the kid, in his opinion, that the Egyptian king Mo Salah came and he got to meet his idol. Again, why I love sports. When I was a little kid, I loved chasing down athletes to get autographs at different events my dad would take me to. It was so exciting. I didn't understand it. Now I see them and I get it. They're just people who have a different job than me. But as a little kid, they're like your cartoon characters. They're like your comic book guys. Professional athletes just live in that world for little kids, and it's so special when they're able to do something nice and give back like that. So that's what I got for you today. Again, we got 2 spots remaining in KP's annual KP Showdown. NFL.com. League ID is 616-4249. League password 1Pride. Athletes are people too. They can do nice things for their fans. They have to prepare for the future. Fighting has changed. Simone Biles is amazing. Let's wait to see where Jay-Z goes with this. And week 3 preseason football, that's real talk. Until next time, you know how we do. Just be real.